going. So thank you very much for being on this call tonight, and I hope that you will walk away with some good tips on better time management and a little bit of how to use that planner a bit better, and some skills around. The topic tonight will be goals. And I know it's a scary big word, and sometimes we think, oh, we've done it, we set them, we've done all that work in January or in July for those of you who are financial year planner users like myself, and then you end up a few months later thinking, where did I write them down? If you even wrote them down. So I was thinking that I would love to give you some tips and tricks on how to go about goals and a planner, and how to make your planner your best accountability buddy when it comes to goals. So I will start with sharing my screen because I did prepare a nice um, PPT. I hope you can see it. Can you see my screen? Awesome, fantastic. So fantastic. I just need to, how do I, okay. So uh, as you know, when it comes to end planners, I have a madness that I call the 7 steps to plan your planner. And tonight I will be talking a little bit about that step 4 and 5, because I think they are essential when it comes to good time management, and how we actually go about our goals and our planner, and how can we make that planner work for to achieve our goals. So setting your goals, I will not talk too much about this because it is a big topic on its own, and I think you all agree with me that it's not something that we can do in half an hour. But I really hope that you already tackled this job and you have your goals set, and they are already written down somewhere, and you do understand why they are so important. In the end, if you don't set some decent goals, and if they are not measurable, and if they are not so-called smart, then pretty much you're doing a disservice to yourself, because it's like building a house without a foundation. It's like saying to a builder, oh, we'll start building a house tomorrow. Okay, so what does it look like? Well, I don't really know what it will look like. You just start pouring, concrete. So not having goals, it's really just flying without blind, without knowing where you're going and what you want to achieve and where you want to go. So I definitely think that it's one of the most important things that you will do. One big thing, it doesn't matter if you haven't done it yet. You can start setting some goals any time of the year, any time of the day. The moment that you have that light bulb moment going on, and you think, oh, I kind of got an idea on how to approach this thing. It doesn't matter when you're doing it, just do it. Now, not setting your goals is probably one of the biggest issue, and not writing them down is sabotaging the whole plan, because without that, nothing will happen and you cannot have a decent plan. Now, my other big passion is all around working with your goals, and I would really love to talk a little bit about this, because in the end, uh, this is probably the where the magic happens. It's not enough to have those goals ready to go. You really need to start um, incorporating them in your week to week life. And this is where you will start thinking, oh, it really made sense when we were talking about the year at glance. It really makes sense when we were talking about the legend. It really makes sense when we were talking about goals in general, and so on and so on. So virtually, this is where everything ties together, and this is where you will start being prompted about thinking about your numbers. And I think that's one of the most important bits. Now, if you have your goals, of course most of us do have some yearly goals, and if you're lucky and you have a bit of support system and you know how to do it, then you probably already have at least quarterly goals. But I would strongly encourage you to take it to the next level and work out your monthly goals, and from there your weekly goals, because without going down to the weekly building block, nothing really happens. So it's very, very important to go down to that level of seeing what you need to achieve each week in order to achieve your big goal. And this is where the plan really takes shape and form. And of course, those weekly goals will convert in some sort of daily tasks. And don't forget that I strongly encourage everyone not to grow to-do lists. So if you have a to-do list for the week, make sure that you break it down into bite-size, easy little blocks, and find time for them straight away in the week. So don't grow a to-do list. Know exactly which task when will be tackled during the week, because it is a lot easier to do it this way than allowing yourself to go into overwhelm by a mile-long list. And I'm pretty sure that most of you, I mean, I did it before. You get to that point where the list becomes so long that you kind of feel like you can't do it, and you just chunk it in the bin and you start a new list. Anyone done that before? It's just the way that we protect ourselves so that we don't go into overdraft. So instead of doing that, I think that the best way is to find straight away little blocks of times for different type of tasks, so that you know when you are tackling the job. So that's pretty much the very practical side of how to go about it. Now, the three mistakes that you could do when it comes to working with your numbers is not setting, of course, any goals. Again, I can't emphasize enough. That's probably the biggest one. But not knowing your numbers is another big thing that is sabotaging us, and it's stopping you on the tracks. When I say not knowing your numbers, you remember if you were on the webinar that we were talking about your yearly year at glance, that's where we started to talk about numbers. Now, it's imperative to know how much productive time you have each year, and from there how much productive time you have each quarter, and from there how much productive time you have each month, and then of course each week. Because without knowing exactly how much time you can invest in your business, there is no way that you can set realistic goals and that you can set a realistic plan in motion. Would you agree with me? I hope you do. um, um, the reality is that there's no 2 months in the year that look alike. So thinking that you can take your 12 months goals and actually just dividing by them by 12 and you're fine, it's just not realistic. It's mission impossible. You will not work as much as you can in December as you would work in February or March, because there's not enough time. So you have to set your goals realistically, and based on these numbers, you need to work with the available time that you have. And sometimes, especially when I work with my clients, we unpack this bit, and sometimes we do find that the goal is way too big for the time that is available. And there's nothing wrong with reassessing the goals, and there's nothing wrong with working out what's really doable and what's not doable. But you can't do that without knowing your numbers. And of course, we can go on and on and on about numbers, knowing your conversion rates, how many leads you need, how many events you have to go to, and so on. So there's a lot of things that we can talk about numbers, but the time is quite short. And I really want you to show you how I go about actually putting the goals into my planner. I think most of you do have an end planner on this call, except for Adam, I think, but he has seen one beforehand. But before we get there, this is pretty much what I'm talking about when I say know your numbers. And this is a model that I usually show everyone because it's quite comprehensive. And based on that year at glance, we worked out that there's 37 working weeks for the person that I modeled this with. And just for the simpleness of maths, we worked with $5,000 a year, and we worked out that that would be a weekly $1,500. Now, please don't look at the dollar sign as a, oh, this only works for the dollars. It works for anything. Okay, it works for number of leads, it works for the number of workshops that you need to do, or demonstrations or events, whatever. It works for everything. But you will notice that on the under the 55,000, you will see 4 circles. Those are your 4 quarters. And you need to know exactly how many working weeks you have each quarter, because otherwise you will not be able to set realistic goals. And from there, you actually go and work out each month how many working weeks you have. And once you know that, then you can realistically set some goals for the month. And this example is again about dollar signs, because it's just for the easiness of comprehension, and just to show you how it really works. But you can use this model for anything and everything. It doesn't matter whether it's leads, whether it's clients, whether it's the job, or it doesn't matter what your metrics or KPIs are. You can use this model. But the whole idea is that you have to work with the available time that you have. Does that make sense? I shake of head. Fantastic. So I know it's a little bit hard to get your head around it. And if you haven't done your year at glance, then you will probably be a little bit stuck now and say, oh, what was that? Well, your year at glance, is all about looking at the full year and working out exactly how much available time you have by blocking out all those things that get in the way, like school holidays or big life events, public holidays, and so on and so on. There's a whole lot of different things that you can do, and we've done pretty much a good half an hour kickoff on that. So but once you know how much available time you have, it's fairly simple to work out. It's just pure math to work out what needs to happen on a monthly basis and then on a weekly basis. Now, this is where the magic starts. If you don't have an end planner, then please create these spaces in your planner, because I think having your goals every day with you and being in front of you and being in front of mine actually helps for you to achieve them. It helps you to track, and it helps you to look at them and to help you on the way to get there. Now, in the end planner, you will find that there's pretty much 2 major type of goal boxes. One is this one that you see on the screen right now, and this is pretty much for the yearly goals and for the quarterly goals. Now, with these goal boxes, the difference to everything else is that you do have a due date, and you do have a percentage sign, and you have a tick box. Now, originally, I didn't have the percentage sign, I only had a tick box, but I found that sometimes I would achieve a goal at, let's say, 80%. And just because I couldn't tick the box, it counted as it's not done. And I found that that was really depressing, because 80% is that close. I mean, it's really close. And then I realized that there were cases where the goal was just turned out to be bigger than I am, and I achieved only 20 to 30%, but the 20 to 30% felt like I've done it all, and I still couldn't measure it. So this is why I decided to add the percentage sign next to the tick box, because sometimes ticking the box off is not as powerful as assessing what part of that goal did you achieve? Are you really happy with what you achieved? Is that 30% satisfying, or is it, oh, I could have done better? So it's really important to be able to look at these goals from this perspective and make sure that we assess where we are with the goals. And then, of course, the due date is quite important, especially when we are talking about bigger amounts of time. So we're talking about a year, or let's say 90 days. Sometimes a goal, as much as it is a yearly goal, it might not take a full year. So it's just good to know when are you expecting that goal to be achieved. because it's a lot easier to work towards it if you know exactly what's the due date. And then, of course, as you can see, one of the tips that I would give you when it comes to the goals, beside the fact that I definitely write them down, and I was a little bit cheeky and I just put a little number in the corner in the second image, but I definitely would suggest that use color. Please, if you have a good legend and you have a good color coding, then use color around those goals, because they will drive your eyes. I do put my personal goals in my planner just as much as I put my business goals in, and it's good to actually have that uh, that visual help. When I open my planner to my goals, I can see straight away that the purple boxes are usually all about my end parent business, and of course pink is usually my family or personal goals. So it just helps the visual. And some of you I know that have more than one business at hand, so it's even more important to have a visual aid when it comes to looking at your goals. So you might have 2-3 different colors on that goal sheet. Also, if you have an end planner, you might find that on that big things I will achieve this year, by accident there's 12 boxes. Please, it's not about months. It just happened to have 12 boxes. It doesn't matter whether you only have one big goal or you have 12. It really depends on where your business is, how many businesses you have, and where is your life right now. So it doesn't really matter how many goals you have. It's just important to be aware of them and to have the space to write them down. And then, of course, the same goes for the quarterly goals, because it's just a fabulous way to make sure that the color is serving the visual side of the goals. Now, the second type of goal boxes that you will find in an end planner, and again, if you don't have an end planner, please don't panic. You can create these boxes anywhere in your planner, but make sure that you do, and make sure that you have a corner, at least a corner for your goals. The monthly goals and the weekly goals are actually called goals and actions. And the reason why I call them goals and actions is because sometimes, being a shorter period of time, the goal is more an actionable item. So for example, launch my podcast. That's not a goal anymore because the work is all done. It's really just an actionable item that will happen this month, next week, or whenever. Does that make sense? So it's really important to not be afraid to put some strong last step kind of actionable items in these boxes, because they will drive your month. But it's also important to acknowledge what is the focus for the month, and that's what these boxes are serving for on a monthly view. And of course, on a weekly view, it has to help you move towards achieving your goals. Now, you will find that in the end planner, except for the end planner for wellness advocates, which has a little bit of a different structure, and I'll talk in a second a little bit about that too. But the normal end planner has 3 boxes, because I found that we can't really focus on more than 3 things at a time. And usually anything that is over that 3 big things, for some reason it usually rolls into next week or into next month, or at least that's what I found. And sometimes I divide these boxes and I make halves, because they are things that are correlated. Be creative with it. It's really not set in stone. It's just a space dedicated and designed to be used to set your goals. So don't be afraid to mold and change this space to your needs. Now, when it comes to the weekly bit, the rule is exactly the same as with the month. Now, there's one little thing that I really want to say. I've seen a lot of planners in the past few months, and most of you graciously did share with me some of your pages, and I had a chance to sneak peek to some of you who who are not on any kind of programs, and you're not working effectively with me. And one of the biggest things that I see is that this bit here, which is the bottom of your week, usually is empty. Trust me, the power of writing your weekly goals down is, I don't know, I don't even know if I have the words. Just try it, really. Please, just take a leap of faith, and for the next 2-3 weeks, try it. Write down your weekly targets and your weekly goals. It's amazing what a huge difference it makes just to write down them. I find that the weeks when I'm slack, and yes, it happens, I'm only human. Um, the weeks when I don't write anything in those goal boxes, I find myself on a Friday thinking, oh, where did the week go? While even if I don't achieve the things that I've written in those boxes, those weeks where I take the time to fill in these 3 boxes are way more productive than the weeks when I don't do anything about goals. Now, when it comes to the Wellness Advocate Planner, ladies, please follow the tick boxes. It's really a no-brainer. It's really designed to walk you step by step through the process of how to build the business. And we took so much time, and we've put so much effort with Kirsten into creating the all the tick boxes that you need to be able to move forward in your business. So it's really a no-brainer. Tick the boxes, write the numbers in, calculate, and make sure that you have weekly targets. And the rule is exactly the same. Don't leave empty boxes. You have to agree with me that the end planner is not fluffy. Seriously, it is as simple as it can be. It's the whole idea was to strip it back to a very doable, usable tool. So if it's in it, it's worth actually thinking about it and ticking it or writing in it, because it will help you grow, and it will help you get roll your plan and get to your goals and achieve your dreams. So make sure that you don't skip the goal setting section, and please try it and let me know how you go. I'm always curious, and I always want to hear stories. And some of you might say, oh, it will not make a difference to me, but just humor me, you never know. And I think Linda will not to me on this, because she knows what powerful thing it is to actually take some sort of action when it comes to achieving your goals. And writing them down is probably the most powerful action you will take to start with. Everything else is just to follow through. So, but it all starts with writing them down. So and this is where I would say some of you straight away said to me, oh, but I don't have time to do it. Make sure that on a Monday morning, if nothing else, if you don't have any kind of other routine, plan to plan. I know it sounds weird and funny, and it kind of sounds, oh, really? It's half an hour to an hour. I did put there an hour. The reality is that it doesn't take me more than half an hour anymore, because I know exactly what I do, and it's really just a check-in with where I am, what I'm doing, and where do I want to head this week. So trust me, in time that will shrink to roughly 30 minutes each week, but it is the best thing you will do for yourself. It can be Sunday evening, it can be Saturday evening, it can be Friday, it can be anytime over the weekend, but definitely plan to plan and put it in your planner, because by putting it in your planner, you are allowing yourself to actually do it, and it will remind you on a Monday or on a Tuesday or on the weekend that you need to stop and think about what's going to happen next week. Now, the weekly plan is quite important for another reason too, and we're not talking about that tonight, but it's extremely important because it will be the space when you start thinking about what happened and do some reviewing. So it's really, really important to plan and allow yourself to plan for the week. Now, that's pretty much in a nutshell. Whether you believe it or not, we are roughly at half an hour. What I really want you to take away tonight is that if you don't have an end planner, then make sure that you create the space for different goals and different sets of goals. But if you have an end planner, then please don't leave empty boxes, and make sure that you start using the goal setting sections in your planners. And I would really love you to stay connected and post some images about your planner, or if you have questions, just don't be afraid to actually ask those questions. Di is amazing when it comes to posting stuff after a masterclass, and I love seeing them. But make sure that you connect, and if you have questions, don't keep them, just ask them. There's no foolish question, there's only unanswered question. And I guess one of the posts over the past month was that little thing on how do you actually put in your exact period of time of your appointment. And it sounds like it's an easy and natural and normal thing to know, but it's not necessarily that simple. And there's always little hacks that I can show you and that can help you in using the planner at its best. Now, what happens in End Planner's world? Well, the financial year end planner is in the final checking stages. I'm super excited because I've never been this much on time when it comes to the financial year planner. So if you need one, then please let me know and jump online and pre-order your planner. If you already have a yearly planner and you think, oh, I have one, what's the deal with it? Well, I'm telling you that there's going to be a little bit of a game when it's going to be launched. So just keep an eye on that group, because I'm just going to try and involve every one of you, not just the ones who are ready to purchase a new planner. So please stay tuned. I hope you will enjoy what I have in my bag of surprises. And of course, I'm not sure if you know, but if you have been on my website, you will find that you can actually book a free 30 minutes consultation. So just hit the button and find the time, and let's have a chat, and let's see if I can help you. Really, it's all about making the most of that planner and helping you work out something that works for you and helps you move forward. And then, of course, don't forget there's the workshops. Please book in for your next make friends with your planner masterclass, because I am moving towards the space where only the people who will book in and reserve their seat will get the recording. So it's just becoming all automated, and it's easy. So even if you can't make it on the night, just make sure that you book your seat, and like that you will have access to the recording of the workshop, or whatever we might want to call it, masterclass. And then, of course, if you're in Melbourne, there's the Blueprint to Life Work Harmony, and of course there's planning workshops and a lot of things happening. And of course the Time Fix program, which if you feel like you need a bit more help and you want to fast track the way that you think about time and become a better planner, then this is the way to go. Please reach out and let's see what can happen, and start with that half an hour free consultations, because why wouldn't you? So thank you very much for being on the call tonight. I hope you got some good gems. I will stop the recording, and if you have any questions, so sorry. No, how do I stop the recording? Doesn't matter. And if you have questions, please feel free to have your questions. Unmute yourself. Unmute, and desktop sharing is paused. Sorry.
No, all good. Have you stopped recording?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, all good. I just wanted to say thank you. I did actually get something out of that call, because I didn't